Welcome back. So today we are probably will go through the lesson again, just because these rules are fundamentals to the grammar of Spanish, right? So um, I think it's best for us to become thorough in this, and as we normally do, so we search for a pattern in over here. So pattern, and this would essentially give you the list, I mean in terms of the rules and examples, right? So we have four different forms, and from what you've seen yesterday, the commonality is that all of them in terms of conjugation, the verb, the ending of the regular verb form is removed, and then we add something to it. So what we need to remember is what needs to be added to the verb, uh, again in terms of the conjugation. So let's look at yo first. So yo means I, and and the other thing to remember would be the 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 forms of the verbs, right? So in terms of talking, it's the verb is called hablar. For eating or to eat, it's comer, and um, in terms of to live, this is right here on the screen. It is vivir, right? Vivir is to live, and um, I'm just scanning to see if there's any other verbs in this sample. So no, so you have vivir, comer, hablar. So obviously you have many more verbs in Spanish. So I think it would be imperative to remember the commonly used verbs in Spanish. So again, coming back to what we're discussing, it's called yo. I mean the yo. I mean the verb. So we have. It's again. Let's search for it. All right. So for the yo form, the the uh, the subject is yo, right? I, and then you conjugated the verb. So you would, like in all the other forms, you remove the ending of the verb. So in this case, let's talk about hablar. So you remove ar out of it, and then you add o to it, right? So, and the way to remember it would be because yo uh, uh, ends with an o, so you can probably use that as a reference uh, in terms of remembering what letter or um, or letters to use in terms of adding it. So you have yo hablo, yo como, yo vivo, right? So as we have seen earlier, to eat would be comer, and then we remove er out of it, and then add o to it. And the to live is vivir. You remove ir out of it and add o, right? So that is yo. The second one that you're going to see is usted. So usted um, is to address someone who's, I mean, it's a more formal way to uh, for the you form, right? If you're it's someone elder to you or someone you would probably use usted. And usted, again, you are removing the uh, ending of the verb, and now to remember what exactly you're adding to it. So in this case, you're dropping the ending and you're adding either an a or an e. And now to remember when you're adding an a and when you're adding an e, right? So um, I guess you could remember e by looking at, obviously usted has e, right? It contains e. uh, so you could remember it probably that way. So the verb is an AR verb. So which are the AR verbs that you have seen so far? So comer is definitely not AR. It ends with ER, so it's not comer. Vivir ends with IR. Hablar ends with AR. Hablar, hablar, hablar ends with AR. And then you add an A. So AR, you add an A, which makes sense in terms of A, right? A is an AR, so AR add A. It puts an ER verb. So ER, let's see where we have ER. So hablar is AR, just found out. Comer is ER. Comer is ER, and then you remove. Um, so so you so if it's an ER or an IR, you would add an E. So ER contains E, so EE, and IR would also be E. So usted habla, um, in terms of comer, because it's ER, you remove ER and add an E. Usted come, and vivir, you remove IR and add an E. So usted vive. Okay, and the third one is nosotros. So let's look at this in the next video. So just to recap, we have looked at yo again, and the yo form, the subject yo form, um, and usted, right? And for yo, we have seen that in order to conjugate the subject with a verb, you remove the ending of the verb and add an o. And the way to remember it is because yo contains o, so you add an o, right? And usted is you would again remove the ending, and then you would add either an a or an e to it. So an a would be for verbs which have the form of ar, like hablar, and for that you would add an a. So in this case it would be usted habla. And in terms of e, you would add it to either an er verb or an ir verb. An er verb is comer, ir verb is vivir, and there you remove ir or er and e. So usted come or usted vive. Alright, so in the next video we'll continue with looking at the other forms, which we have two more. So until then, see you next time.